Hello and welcome to the ORH Podcast. I'm your host Finley Cannon and I'm joined by Adam Driscoll as always after what has been a fantastic week for Luton Town. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm good, yeah, really good mate. Positive, the Jack Wilshere Express is on the right tracks and picking up speed, so yeah, really good, and obviously pleased to see us with a convincing win on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll be talking all about that convincing win away at league leaders Stockport in this episode, and we'll also be looking ahead to Saturday's visit of Rotherham. But before that, don't forget to check out oakroadhatter.com for all of the latest content from us, including Adam's interview with Gary Sweet, which has been written up and uploaded as a website article. And you can check all of that at oakroadhatter.com and visit our YouTube as well, Oak Road Hatter, to find all of the latest content from us. And don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already, because we really appreciate all of the support and we're trying to push the subscriber number. But let's talk about that win at Stockport, because 3-0 away from home at the league leaders, a saved penalty and goals from Jones, Richards and Bramall. It doesn't really get much better than that.
Not really, no. I mean, when was the last time we sat here and reflected on a day that just went completely our way? Even from the first 15, 20 minutes when we had to dig in and Stockport had a few opportunities, we still dug in and obviously kept ourselves in the game, and then, but obviously, you've said from then on, everything just went our way. And sometimes you need that as well. We've been critical in previous weeks. We've seen in recent weeks an upturn in confidence and the feeling amongst us as a supporter base. And sometimes you just need those days where everything goes for you and for all of that to carry on. So yeah, massive day, and it feels good again, doesn't it?
Yeah, it felt great after that get at full time. After that game, less great when we got back to the car and found there was a few things that seemed to have been taken that we don't know how. But that is not for this podcast. But let's talk about the game a bit more, because in the opening, 30 minutes or so, we actually didn't have a shot in that first half an hour. Stockport had the first 6 shots of the game, and they really actually imposed themselves on us quite early, and it looked like it might be a tough game. And then after that, something seemed to click, because from that point onwards, it was constant Luton attacks, which began with our first shot of the game on the 34th minute when Bramall sort of broke away down the left. He linked up well and then got round the defender with his electric pace, which he had on show for most of the game. Jones on the other side with the same, and he got a low crosser into the box, and nobody else but Jake Richards got onto the end of the ball in, and the 18-year-old was absolutely delighted. He came charging over to the away fans in front of him, and you could just see how happy he was and how happy everyone else in that Luton side was for him as well. And it changed the game big time, that first goal.
Yeah, and there's so much to digest there. But you said about the first half an hour being, or first 25 minutes or whatever, being Stockport with their chances, their shots at goal. And that's what I mean about that digging in. Ultimately we're playing away at top of the league. And I think before the Saturday they'd lost once at home and twice all season. So there was going to be that, they're going to come out and want to dictate play, and you sometimes have to accept the fact that we need to be strong and stable, because you will get that opportunity. There will be that chance. The critical thing for us, or the thing we've been critical about recently, is we don't take our chances. But it was just polar opposite, wasn't it? Stockport were a little bit wasteful, and then we get our first opportunity and go 1-0 up. And obviously we'll talk about the second goal because it comes 4 minutes later, and then that is a massive momentum shift in the whole game. But just on the first goal, I thought Bramall was exceptional throughout. And we've spoken a lot about formation, and the fan base as a whole have. I don't have a problem with the formation if we play with wing backs and 3 centre halves. I think the issue we've had has been the personnel, and we've not had a right wing back. really, have we? Like a proper right wing back. So that's been the problem. And you look at it now, and we changed that shape at the weekend, and we had Bramall as left wing back, and we had Izzy Jones as right wing back, and certainly from the idea of having Jones on the right, there's probably no better right wing back in League One, or there's definitely no better right wing back in League One. So look, yeah, the shape was good. Bramall was brilliant, and fair play to Richards as well, because he's a young lad, but he doesn't lack anything, does he? He doesn't lack ability. He doesn't lack confidence. Like he has full belief in his own talents, and I think we all should as well, because he is more than good enough. And you can certainly see now why the likes of Brighton and Palace were looking at him in the summer at the same time as us, and what a gem we've been able to get. I mean, whatever we paid for the compensation fee, whether it reached $1 million or not, I mean, what an absolute bargain. He's going to have a serious career ahead of him, I think.
Yeah, Wilshere clearly is a big fan as well, and I guess for Richards, it's massive having someone like Jack Wilshere come in, because he probably sees a bit of himself in terms of Wilshere, sees a little bit of himself in Richards. He's a young midfielder who's very promising and has broken into a team at a young age. But since Wilshere came in, he's just gone another level up. He just looks like an exceptional player, like really, really good. And a lot of players would struggle to get into a side ahead of him. He's combative, he's quite diminutive, but he's really combative in that midfield. He's confident on the ball. He's creates chances for himself and for other players, and yeah, he's getting forward and getting into the box, and obviously got on the end of that ball across. And it was actually a really good finish, considering like there was a defender covering, and he just managed to get on it. And you imagine for Richards as well, having someone in there like Wilshere in charge, it's probably really inspiring, because he's 18, so he would have been watching Wilshere for most of his childhood in the Premier League, for large parts of that anyway. So it's someone he knows. You'd imagine he knows of really, really well, and having that person guiding you is massive. But yeah, you spoke about the wing backs there, and Bramall was arguably the best player on the pitch at times for a lot of the game. Like, obviously, he got a goal and an assist, as did Richards.
Yeah.
And then just his pace going up and down that left hand side, he is absolutely relentless. And then having Jones on the other side is a different sort of wing back, but he's really tricky, and he's, rather than that like really constant pace, he can just flip it like a switch and just go round a player, and that's obviously how we won that free kick for the Bramall goal. He beat a man and then just got taken out by, I think it was Pye on the floor, just sort of kicked out at him as he came past. And yeah, I didn't expect the goal that came from it though. We'll talk about it, because it was such a surprise in how it came about, and just that strike from Bramall, it was absolutely class.
Yeah, and when we got the free kick, and I was watching it on the telly, and you saw the angle, and you thought, this is really, really just set up for him. And I had flashbacks to the Virtue Trophy game. I think, was it Barnet at home, when he pinged one in from the same place? And you sat there and you thought, wouldn't it be amazing if this went in and we were 2-0 up within 5 minutes or 4 minutes of the first goal? But then the cynical part of me goes, well, it's Luton. We don't score many direct free kicks unless you've got George Moncur in your team, and that won't be what happens. And then lo and behold, as soon as it left his foot, you're thinking, this is pretty good. He's got quite a knack for it. But then if you ask Rotherham fans, or you read online the thoughts of Rotherham fans, then I think there's people that got knocked out in Rose Ed last season by his free kick. So he's definitely been working on that, and it's so good. I mean, it's great to see it, isn't it? I know everyone wants to see goals from open play, but if you've got someone that's a genuine threat on set pieces, then it's brilliant. But you're right. He was fantastic throughout, and I kind of hold my hands up a little bit, because when we signed him, you thought, okay, you've got a left back or a left wing back, but we need another one, because he's probably not up to the level to be there every week. I think he's proven us wrong so far. I think he is up to their level, and I think whether it's a back four and you're playing him as a left back, or it's um, a left wing back and he's playing higher up the pitch, I think he has to play. Because he just offers something on that side that no one else does really. He has the pace and the power that Naismith doesn't when he plays as the left back, and he's a more complete player on that side than having Millie Ali out there. Obviously with a right footer that's cutting in. So for me, he's absolutely nailed on. My only concern is a bit of burnout, and do you start to look at the cup games and now not play him so that you have got him for the league games? But yeah, what a real kind of gem of a signing he's turning out to be.
And the technique on that free kick, because I want to talk about it more because it just was that good. The way it he runs up to it, he has like a short little run up, that's like a couple little steps, and it's similar to, I think they compared it to Gareth Bale on Not the Top 20, and you can see that, and it's quite similar to Ronaldo as well. Obviously, I would never say Bramall is better than Ronaldo, but obviously he is.
Sounds like that's what you are saying.
He obviously is better than Ronaldo at this point in his career. But the way he hits it in the air, it just moves so much, and like it goes up and down so fast and almost weaves in the air, and you just look at it and go, that is such a pleasing strike to watch. Like I just loved it. And then the limbs in that away end after that free kick were like unfounded for a goal to put you 2-0 up just before half time. There was actually bodies everywhere, and I don't know if you've seen the picture.
Yes.
Of those lads. They were 2 rows in front of me, and I just saw bodies drop on the floor on top of them, and it was just absolute chaos in that away end. It's just, you don't see goals like that well hit, scored that often. It was just so pleasing to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And all those lads that chuck themselves down a couple of rows have the right to do that, because we've not been this positive for a while, and we certainly haven't seen a goal like that for a while in a league game, let alone away at the top of the league. So fair play to them. I hope that no one broke any bones or anything like that, because I saw the picture, and I think at the bottom of this bundle I just saw one face staring up at the sky, looking quite worried. So yeah, hopefully all those guys are all right. But yeah, really good celebrations, and it came across on watching it on telly as well.
Yeah, I don't know, you can just see how much it means to the players at the moment as well, because Bramall, like obviously Richard, just ran towards, he was obviously in front of the away fans anyway, but he just ran to the away fans and just got absorbed into a crowd of people, and with more and more players coming on, jumping on top of him as well. So it just feels very different at the moment. Like, it feels like the players are properly connected, not only with each other, but with the fans again. And I think that's absolutely massive. And that has clearly come from Wilshere and Chris Powell again, because he did a nice little dance at the end of the game, which I'm sure we can talk about again, because we love watching a little Chris Powell dance at full time, and he clearly loves an away day as well. But yeah, obviously that second goal, it didn't put it to bed as such, because obviously the second half they win that penalty on what, 6? I don't know what minute it was on. Actually, it was fairly early in the second half. They obviously win the penalty. 56 minutes, Nathan Lowe, he's a player you'd expect to score, and he steps up and he looks pretty confident from the spot, and it's just a absolutely class save from Keeley. And like, the celebration after he saved it initially was good. Then Naismith comes in and clears the ball from in front of, I think Nathan Lowe again was trying to get to the rebound. And it was like we scored a goal in that away end in the celebrations when that ball got cleared. You can see it on the video as well behind. There's just people going crazy, and it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things that you just absolutely love being part of. And it was just, and then the players came and just all gathered around Keeley, like patting him on the back and like geeing each other up almost, and then they were immediately focused again on defending. And I thought that was how we were all game. Like, the defence were constantly celebrating their defending and then getting back to it and doing it again and again and again when they had to, especially late on in the game, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought just on the penalty, I think Lowe's done himself with this stop and stutter. And, before he stopped and stuttered, he looks to the bottom left and then he stops and stutters and you think, well, you've just given it away. If it's not right in the corner, he's going to save it. So you won't be happy with that. And I can't stand when we have stop and stutter penalties. Just like do what Kevin Nichols used to do. Just run up and smack it. And if the keeper makes a save, then fine. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, less of my old man ranting. But the togetherness, Keeley pulls off a blinder of a save, really good save. And it just feels like the players now want to play for each other. There's still arms getting waved around at each other in defence at times, but there is a general feeling that we're now in this season, and we understand that we're in this season. We talk now, we're 6 points off top, and we've been bang average. If you look at the whole season as a whole, absolutely bang average. We've given everybody a head start, and yet we win our game in hand. God knows where that could put us at that point. So if we go on any sort of run right now, the league title is still there, and it's not not many of us would have thought we were going to be saying that about a month ago. So yeah, it's massive. It's massive. Everyone feels back together. The fans feel back with the club and with the players. And pleasingly, we've got a game on Saturday that's not been called off, and we can hopefully win that and keep cracking on.
Yeah, you talk about like it's not that far off because you look at the table and so many of the teams in the top 8 lost on Saturday. The only team from the top 8 that won was Bolton, and they are the team at the moment that you look at and think they are really fucking good, and they've properly got the momentum. So it is really doable getting into that top 6 at the moment because they are just no one is consistently pulling away with the league. Like Stockport won 4 or 5 on the bounce, and then lost to us, and then Rotherham went and beat Lincoln 3-0, and now Rotherham are the most informed side in the division, and we'll obviously talk about that but we've got to finish talking about the game from Saturday because we've mentioned the 2 goals, we mentioned the penalty save. Well, then there was a third goal as well, and that came from Richards and Jones linking up down that side just so well, and the little pass back inside that Richards plays to put Jones in on goal. It was a pretty hard angle as well that he set Jones up for, and it was a great finish. But we've already said so much about Richards, but that pass was just so good, and just watching it back, it's just so good to see how they're linking up effortlessly. And then the finish from Jones was great, and then he proceeded to try and wind up some Stockport fans in that home end with his celebration, and that sparked a mass exodus from Edgeley Park.
Yeah, and how many words can we use to describe Richards? But he just drifts around the pitch effortlessly. He is like a small left-footed flair player, and Wilshere was that in his breakthrough and in his prime. Maybe not quite off the wide positions, but Richards has put a little pass in there for Jones that he can just step onto and hit. He's not overhit it. He's not made Izzy Jones think about which foot to go with. It's absolutely perfect for him to just stride onto and get a shot away. And that I think everyone will just look at it and go, well, it's a pass, but it's a real talent to be able to know which pass to play and to play it at the right pace and put it in the right position for someone to walk onto it. And we haven't seen enough of that fluidity this season. And I thought actually, probably for the most part of the second half, and particularly after the third goal, we looked so fluid in some of our football. We could have scored 1 more, 2 more in the first half. We could have scored 2 more in the second half. It looked like the sort of football we were all hoping to see under Wilshere. And it was so refreshing from what we've seen for the most part this season.
Yeah, it was a really obviously well taken finish from Jones, instinctive as well. And no one expected 3-0 at the start of the day at all. And Stockport weren't bad in the opening 30 minutes. We spoke about the chances they had. They were just clearly missing players because we spoke about in the build up to the game that midfield battle with Ollie Norwood, and it looks like he's going to be out for quite a few weeks because he's got a blood clot, I think, which is a bit of a freak injury to have. But yeah, that's why he's he's not available, and you can see them struggling without him.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he does seem quite influential, and I saw when they put their team news out and they had no Norwood and no Osborne. A lot of their fans were like, "Oh, okay, where's our midfield?" So maybe there's a strength in depth thing. Maybe they don't quite have the strength in depth, um, unlike us that does. And it's for us, it's finding the right combinations right now. I mean, I know we'll go into it in more detail, but there's a lot of players that played on Saturday that I think you just keep going. You keep going with them as much as you can. So in the league. You know, we've spoken about Bramall already. For me, Richards has to play. Um, Izzy Jones when he's fit, Mengi when he's fit. So there's players there that are really starting to cement themselves in the team, and I probably would put Lamine Fane in there as well.
Yeah, he didn't obviously have as much influence on the scoreline during the game, but he was again really solid in that midfield alongside Saville, and Walsh as well came in, and he looked really really solid as well. And he put out quite a funny tweet. Someone tweeted before the game, if Walsh start, I bet £100 if Walsh starts, we lose the game or something like that. And then full time, I or after the game, we looked at it and Walsh quote tweeted saying, "I hope you lost £100." I was just like, I just want that sort of personality in the team, like someone who's willing to look at that and think, right, you can piss off.
Yeah,
I'm gonna show you like what I can do, because he was so solid, and he is a very small player, but he's so combative in that midfield. And obviously we've seen the worst side of that, but we've also seen really positive sides of that, and he just makes it look really easy when he's in there.
yeah, and I quite like that because we've bashed the players for long enough. We're onto something good right now at the moment. So let's not bash the players. And if you do and they bite back, then fair play to them. I know he's made his mistakes historically, but he's also put in some really good performances and shifts for us. So yeah, I think fair play for having a little nibble back there.
Yeah, I think it's what you need sometimes, just to prove people wrong. Obviously, Wells has struggled in front of goal a bit recently, and he did have one particularly good chance, which I thought he was gonna. I was convinced he was gonna put away,
Yeah,
but yeah, Ben Hinchcliffe just pulled off a pretty good save. I thought it was savable, but he did well to parry it away as strongly as he did. Like, he was really strong when he parried it away, and it just isn't dropping for Wells at the moment. And like, Wilshere clearly trusts him and has the faith in him, but that it just needs that goal in the league just to drop to him in a good area, and just get him back and to get that confidence back, because he clearly cares as well. Because every time we score, he is right at the heart of it. Just properly. Yeah, he just needs that goal to drop for him, and it just will let him hit that form that I think he has got in him.
yeah, and that was the chance just for half time. I think when we were 2 up, and he's clean through, and that again was some really good fluid football that got him through. Not even so sure it wasn't Richards again that played that ball, but um, a confident Wells or a scoring Wells just slots that away. But he kind of delayed it a little bit. The square ball to Fane went because he delayed, and obviously he does end up hitting it straight at the keeper. But if we keep getting him in those positions, he will score goals. So I'm not too worried about that.
And then obviously in the second half as well, they got a red card. Jamie's tip for a player we should have signed in the summer, when we discussed about that, in Owen Dodgson, got himself a second yellow for just, he brought down Jones, I think, in the first half, and then second half, Kadua sort of took the ball around him and he just grabbed him and pulled him to the ground. Obviously, second yellow, and I think that was it for them. But we still kept going in this late on in the second half. Al Hamady got into the box and fired a shot straight at the keeper, and he could have played Yates in, and Yates was screaming for it. But obviously, both of them want to get that goal, and it was 3-0 at that point, so it didn't really matter that they didn't get it. But it could have been 4-5-0 in that game, and that was against top of the league. And it was just, it was one of the best away games of football I've ever been to in terms of the individual performance and the overall team performance.
Yeah, I mean, but how refreshing is it? We when you get a confident Luton team, I've said it for ages. Like, we have enough quality in this squad to get top two. Simple as that. I've never doubted the quality of the players. It's combinations. It's, are we playing the right formation? Have we got the right players in the right positions? Are they playing for the manager? And a lot of those things, I would say, the answer was no for the most part of this season. I don't think the answer is no anymore. So we have so much talent, it's unbelievable. I mean, we bought bloody Al Hamadi and Jerry Yates off the bench and Kadua, basically 3 forwards you've just bought off the bench and thrown at Stockport, who are down to 10 men. It's ridiculous talent, but again, it's about keeping players fit. We didn't even see Jordan Clark in the squad because he's not fit. Shader Morris wasn't in the squad. It's insane the amount of talent we have, and if we click, as we said last week, if we click, we will go on a really decent run. I don't want to say we'll go on the run we had last time we were in League One because that was pretty mental, but even 2/3 of that, we'll be definitely in the right place come the end of the season.
And obviously, it all comes from the back, and we did briefly touch on it, but Teden Mengi was just absolutely exceptional. It was one of his best overall performances in a Luton shirt. I thought just out how he looked so solid. He looked physical. He looked quick, and that sort of defensive slide tackle / block late on in the game when it was 3-0 already, just to keep that clean sheet. And he took the ball really well off the attacker, turned around and fucking gave it to the Luton fans behind him, and it was just absolute sort of, yeah, everyone was so on board. Is just so on board again, and they're so behind him now as well, which is really, really good to see. And he clearly really likes that as well, because the Luton fans were singing Matty Pearson's old song is now Teden Mengi's song, and very much thriving in that away end. And there was a video of the players going through into the tunnel at full time, and I think it's Fane singing it. He's singing Teden Mengi's Magic Hat on his way into the tunnel, and you can see some of the players laughing. But at full time, all the players were straight over to the Luton fans. They were really, really celebrating with the Luton fans. So many of them gave shirts to sort of kids down the front, and just like coming over and speaking to people as well. Bramall came over for ages and was speaking to people. And as I mentioned already, our favourite dancer, Chris Powell, was straight right over at the end again, giving it some fist pumps and like a little jig as well. And yeah, I cannot get over how much fun it is to watch this Jack Wilshere side currently. And we're 5 games in, and we've only seen 3 league games as well, and we're saying this already.
Yeah, I know, and like it's obviously, I don't want to piss on your bonfire, but there will be setbacks. So we have to understand that there probably will be a setback along the way, but this is definitely something different and something new. And it should, in theory, in the longer term, only get better. So I'm all for it. And just on Mengi as well, I think for him to come out and put in that sort of performance off the back of vile abuse that he got from some faceless clown on social media, I think is a testament to his character, but also goes to show that yes, we will moan and we will grumble as supporters, but we will always have their backs when it comes to things like that. So it was so good to see I saw the Luton News video on Twitter. Mengi lapping up the applause, and he deserves it, because you've got to be really resilient to ignore the abuse that he gets, and it probably won't be the first time or the last time. And to go and put a performance like that, he deserves his song, and I hope it's here to stay as well.
Yeah, it was just brilliant all round defensively going forward, and yeah, that resilience he's shown, like we could never even like begin to understand what it must be like for him, and I don't think, and yeah, we just couldn't. But for him to step up and show, just you can say this, but I'm going to be so much better than that in all aspects of like himself, and he is, in my opinion, the best player in this division. And you've said it as well before, but when he's fully fit and firing, he is the best player in League One, and up there with one of the best defenders in the Championship as well. And the only player at the moment probably giving him a run for his money is Kozia Dubry at Bolton, who Wilshere knows pretty well. So maybe if he fancies bringing him here as well in January, and seeing if we can sort of just have a super team in League One. Now, obviously, Bolton would never let that happen, and it's so unlikely. But when we've got Mengi, you've got Jones, you've got Richards, as we've spoken about, We've got we didn't even have a Clark there at all, and he's probably one of the best midfielders in the division as well. It just looks so positive at the moment. And it's so much more fun talking about Luton when we've been really fun to watch and positive, and everyone is pulling in the right direction.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant, and I feel like ever since I joined this podcast, it's been nothing but depressing crap that we've spoken about. So it's really nice to have a slightly different mindset, and just it does feel refreshing. So yeah, let's hope we can carry on. I mean, if we can build, even we build an unbeaten run for a little bit, even if it gets us through to around Christmas time, then this league is so tight and really quite average that there's so much to play for. So yeah, it's just about getting that run together, sticking together, and seeing where we are come sort of Christmas, New Year, and then we kick on again.
And we're going to go to a quick break now, but when we get back, we'll be keeping on the positivity as we preview Saturday's visit of Rotherham. Welcome back to the Oak Road Hatter podcast. I'm still joined by Adam Driscoll, and now we're talking all things the Saturday to come because the games keep coming. Thank God that we haven't had another game pushed back for international call-ups, because whilst we have had a few players called up, the game is going ahead, I would say, fortunately. Like we're only really losing one or two important players to the sort of the way we tend to line up. The main one being George Saville, but he is suspended anyway, so I don't know how it actually works. If he misses both games, both the next two, or just this one counts as both.
Yeah,
I think he misses this and the next game.
I think he does, because I think it's like if he wasn't called up, he would be ineligible, so it doesn't count as a game that he can play in. So I think he misses two after Rotherham.
Okay, so yeah, we're missing Saville obviously, and we're missing Nakamba as well, which would probably have been his replacement. And then yeah, who else is? And then Al Hamadi as well. So it's the only starter at the moment that we're losing is Saville, and hopefully come Saturday we'll have Clicker back. And you'd expect if Clicker is back, Walsh would drop into a deeper midfield role, or Fane might drop slightly deeper. It's obviously we don't know what Wilshire's going to do because he's got plenty of options now. But the game is going ahead, and it's against a Rotherham side who also won 3-0 against Lincoln, who were doing pretty well when they played them. And obviously, Lincoln is still 6th, Rotherham are 12th. But a 3-0 win against a team in the top 6, which actually a lot of teams did well against the teams in that sort of top half of the table, as we mentioned already. But yeah, they're the most informed side in the league right now, which I don't think any Rotherham fan would have expected earlier on in the season, particularly given that they're still sitting 12th. So their turnaround has been pretty stark. I was just looking at sort of what they've done recently, like their recent form, and won the last league game 3-0, got a 2-2 draw before that, and then 4-2 against Man City's under 21s, 1-0 against Barnsley, 1-0 against Leyton Orient, 2-1 against Northampton, 3-2 against Oldham in the EFL Trophy as well. So they haven't lost a league game since the 27th of September. So they have really hit form. And I think they're a bit of an interesting side as well. Like, there's not any real standout players in there, but they just seem to be clicking now. And Matthew Hamshaw, who I'll be honest, I know nothing about.
I agree. I had no idea that was their manager, and that's me obviously not doing research. But yeah, I don't know much about him at all. But I do tend to agree with you. I mean, they're kind of that middle of the road League One team. They've got some good players. I don't think they're going to be a team that are probably not going to make top 6, even though the league is really open, and again we've said like the quality overall is quite average. I think there probably will be stronger teams across the course of the season, but they have got some good players. They've got Cameron Dawson in goal. He's played in the Championship. Dan Gore's a good young midfielder on loan from Man United. Sam Nombi, who's someone that didn't quite work out at Luton, quite a few years ago now, but went away to Exeter and scored quite a few, and then moved to Rotherham and is doing okay by all accounts as well. So yeah, they've obviously got some good players and some threats, and they wouldn't be 6 unbeaten in the league come into us on Saturday if they weren't a half decent team. So again, it's a game that needs to be treated with the respect that it should be, but we need to think about ourselves as well, and we need to use this momentum and really kind of start to put a marker down as well if we can.
Yeah, I don't think many people would have expected this to be a game of two form sides come this stage of the season if you'd have looked probably 5-6 games into the season. But it's how it's come about, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of neutrals keeping an eye on this just to see what happens in it. Because yeah, I was looking at how they line up, and you mentioned the players they've got there. It looks like they line up with a back three similar to Stockport, so it wouldn't be surprising to see us line up in the same way we did against Stockport, which obviously worked really, really well. And those wing backs can cause real problems in Bramall and Jones. And yeah, the players you've mentioned there, Nombe is someone that I think is maybe up there with their best players. He did well for them last season, despite the fact that they struggled. Like he's only scored 22 goals in 100 games for them, but I mean it's still fairly. He got 15 last season, so he is a good finisher. He just didn't work out for him with us. And then yeah, Dangor that you've mentioned there, and then another. I mean they've got. Is that Joe? They've got Joe Rafferty in defence, who's someone who knows the league very, very well. He's been about for absolutely ages, it feels like. He's 32, so they've got a mixture of experience and sort of younger players in there as well, and it will be a test. Yeah, we'd both be lying if we said we knew loads about them, but yeah, it'll be a tough game. And I know you love when I talk about stats, so we're going to talk about stats. They are. I mean, they're not doing anything outstandingly well in terms of overall. They're sort of middle of the road in a lot of areas. We've got the most clean sheets in the league now. I did not know that. We've now got 7 clean sheets, which comes as a surprise to me, and I'm sure a surprise to you as well. But it is a game we should be winning if we are ambitious to what we want to do. And I would expect Wilshire believes the same. It's a game we should be winning, but he knows it'll be a test.
Yeah, just on your clean sheets thing there as well. So that means in the other 7 league games we've shipped 15 goals. So we are a bit all or nothing when it comes to defence. But yeah, I mean, it's a home game against a team that are mid-table, and the Mansfield game at home was difficult because it was obviously Wilshire's first game. He'd had 4 or 5 days of training, but with the bounce that we've had, and you could definitely say it was a new manager bounce that we have had. You've got to be looking at all your home games now and thinking win, because if we do that, bearing in mind that we've already had Cardiff come to us, one of the harder ones, but beyond that, I'd look at every home game as I did at the start of the season when trying to predict our points tally and think win. So I see no reason why we shouldn't have that mentality on Saturday, and if we do that, there's a decent chance that we're going to be, if not in, but just outside the playoff places. Come late Saturday afternoon.
And we have so many players coming back from injury at the moment. Like every game could be a different bench from who's just about to return from injury. The likes of Jacob Brown, Roll Walters, obviously Clicker we've mentioned already, are all looking like they'll be back fairly soonish. They'll obviously be eased back into it, but it gives us so many options. And actually we can play a game and then play another game the following week and have a slightly different team if someone needs a rest. And it's just a luxury we've not had in so long. So it does make it a bit harder to predict the team, but I think it'll be very similar in terms of the lineup. Yeah, we've mentioned already Saville will be unavailable through suspension, but apart from that midfield, I think it will probably be unchanged from what we saw against Stockport.
Yeah, and you mentioned the formation that Rotherham play, so that could be another reason that we stick with it for another week, because we've come off the back of an extremely convincing win and performance, and you're playing a team that play the same formation. So I could see that. I could see that happening. If we do that, obviously your wing backs are going to stay as Jones and Bramall. Your centre half three is probably going to stay as Mengi, Anderson, and Naismith. You aren't bringing Richards or Fanny out of the team, in my opinion. I think one of them, you might have Lamine Fanny that drops back. to be that holding player, and maybe Jordan Clark comes in. But if even so, if Jordan Clark's not fit and you want to keep Richards and Fane higher up the pitch, you've got a Dauphin on the bench who played as a holding midfielder for Rotherham, who's ready. So there's countless options. I mean, Zach Nelson wasn't in the squad at the weekend. He could come in and play higher up the pitch if Fane or Richards dropped back. There's, as you say, there's countless things that we can do. So we're getting to be in a really good place with not being hugely impacted by the odd suspension or the odd injury. But we just need to make sure that we don't get a period where we're really going to struggle with 4 or 5 injuries at the same time.
But yeah, if we can keep everyone fit, it's really positive and the momentum looks good as well. It's just a case of getting all the players that need minutes, getting them minutes as well, because we have got a massive squad. Myself, you and Jamie have all been sort of putting ourselves up against each other with our own little Luton saves on Football Manager. And we've all noted the same thing, just how big the squad is when you look at it from that perspective. And it will be, when everyone is fit, it'll be a challenge for Wilshere to actually keep everyone happy. And I wouldn't be surprised if a few players went out of the door in January.
I agree, but it can only be a good thing. If someone's getting the nod and they know that they've got at least one other player in that position that's chomping at their heels, it can only be a good thing. And have to have that healthy competition in the squad. Probably the one area that we probably don't have the competition is left back or left wing back, because, as I say, I think if you're going to play left wing back, Bramall is your only option. Naismith can cover left back, but again, probably not best suited. So there's enough that we can work with. So I'm not sure I see us needing to strengthen that much. But yeah, as you say, some of those players that aren't even in the squad right now are insanely good for this level. So it's going to be a real headache for Wilshere to pick a team and try and keep it settled as well.
But we're going to try and pick a score prediction now, and neither of us got close to a 3-0 win in our last score prediction. And to be fair, I don't think that many people would have got close either. Deggy found me before the game and found me and my mates and got score predictions from us outside the ground as well. And again, none of us were close, and I don't think anyone was. So we're going to try again now, Adam, and let's see if we can come away from our score predictions the right result.
Well, look, I'm gonna carry on with the positivity. I'm good. I think we're gonna go back to back 3-0 wins. Something feels good at the moment, and I think if you go out with a similar team and start to play some of that football that we saw for the best part of an hour on Saturday, any team is going to struggle to handle that. So I think we're going to get an early goal, and we're going to win 3-0.
I'm also feeling confident, feeling positive, feel like we're going to get a clean sheet, but not quite as ambitious to say we're going to win 3-0, but I do think we're going to win 2-0. And I think it will be a really solid performance again, just all round. Everyone's going to step up, and it'll be Wilshere's only a second league game at home. But obviously coming into this one with huge momentum, I think there's going to be a really good feel around Kenilworth Road on Saturday, and hopefully it's absolutely bouncing. And obviously we record this on a Monday night, so it's it's still quite a few days away. But I'm already really excited for the next game, which is a really nice feeling. Let us know your score predictions in the comments on YouTube, and subscribe if you haven't already. Keep an eye on our socials as well for all of the content we're producing. We've got some other content that's on our website, as we've mentioned, including Adam's interview with Gary Sweet and Naz's 5 things we learned from the win at Stockport as well, which is a good read as well. So there's plenty of Oak Road Hatter content to keep up to date with. But we'd love to know your thoughts on anything we've discussed in today's episode. Perhaps you're a Rotherham fan and you don't think we're giving you enough credit, and let us know in the comments as well, because we'd like to know where your strong areas are, because, well, it's the sort of information that is great for us going into a game, so we can keep an eye on it. But aside from that, we hope you have a great week, and we'll see you on Saturday for another top Luton performance.